method of business would persist until the formation of the National Wrestling Alliance in 1948. The NWA as a central governing body, with its singular, undisputed world champion, would be absolute and undeniable. This control, combined with the expansion of the interstate highway system, and the inevitable popularity and availability of regional television, would usher in an era of wrestling that was defined by what would come to be known as the territory system. The territory system would dominate wrestling for nearly 4 decades. While the borders, authority, popularity, and obedience of individual NWA territories was in a near constant state of flux, to this day the impact and influence of these territories is still felt. Each territory had its own signature promoter and star. While it is impossible to cram these characteristics into a static, concrete map, we are damn sure going to try anyway.
So open up your eyes way before it gets too late. Now one man, there's no way you can. Hit the streetlights running, don't give a damn. A simple explanation that you'll never find. Sinners never sacrifice. We never leave love alone. Is hate really worth the price? Look at what we've done. Never cared for compromise. Always threatening someone's life, and it feels like the end of the world.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to This Week in Wrestling, brought to you straight out of Indie Music Studios in Ronkonkoma, Long Island, New York. And to my right is Jimmy Farrow. What's going on, Jimmy?
Good evening.
As you can see, I'm not Monty. This is ESO filling in for Mike again.
Still not Monty.
Well, still not Monty.
Like the shirt says. Yeah. I'm still a Pharaoh. What's happening?
I'll be filling in for the next couple weeks. And so, Farrow, what's going on?
Nothing much. We both made it here.
Yeah.
Miracle of miracles, We're here, we're alive, and it's another ecstatically exciting week in wrestling, so let's have at it.
So, first up is, how much longer do you think NXT is going to keep going?
Good question. I'm not sure, because the ratings, it's funny, like NXT is kind of like getting the AEW Rampage feel to me.
It really is.
No one's watching,
horrible.
and if someone's watching, I apologize. I'm sure that it's awesome for you. But the ratings are going down, 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 and I'm trying to think of who can I grasp onto in that company currently outside of Braun Breaker, of course, Steiner's kid. I'm not seeing a plethora of excitement. How about you?
No, I think it needs some more seasoned veterans down there, maybe to
You know
to
what?
help it.
They're trying that, but honestly, it doesn't feel like it's working. We've had Ziggler go down there. We've had others go down there recently,
Yeah,
and how it's not really. It's not injecting the must-watch feeling. It's
No,
not.
it doesn't seem like the promos aren't there. The wrestling's a little bit off.
They put a beard on Von Wagner, though. They're trying. I'm laughing at it. I mean, basically, it seems very bland right now. Their intention was to just completely start the product over. Well, Vince's intention was just to completely start the product over with the 2.0 reboot and give you from scratch people you've never heard of. And I don't think it's worked.
No, I have to agree.
Not a young Randy Orton amongst them, or at least not
right now.
in plain view. Who knows? Could be wrong. I mean, there's a couple of interesting ones. The Tony Soprano guy is kind of interesting, but not looking too good in my opinion right now. But Triple H, maybe he'll. You know what they really need to do, and I don't know if some of the AEW stars or the New Japan stars would go for it. But what made NXT work originally? Taking the biggest names outside of the WWE and bringing them through NXT before they got to the big show.
Yeah,
like the Bobby Roods and the
absolutely.
Shinsuke Nakamura's. So if they turned around tomorrow and grabbed Will Ospreay, who would never do it, as we know, from New Japan, or a few other guys, You know, there's this Viking guy down in Mexico who's a high-ranked champion. What is his name? El Viking O Del Rio? I can't even, I don't know. But go out and get some of the world's best that are working in other companies. Grab some AEW guys, put them in NXT.
You're saying the development process doesn't seem to be working really anymore.
It works if you mix it in with the exciting, biggest names outside of the WWE. That was the NXT 4. Don't forget, some great homegrown NXT guys did come up.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, but it was mixed in with the exciting guys that were catching the headlines around the world. So I really think that's the formula.
Florida had such a great.
NXT was amazing back in the day. Even just 5 years ago at the Barclays when they were spending summer after summer doing the SummerSlam NXT Takeover thing. Those matches, those cards were fantastic. But look who we had on those cards. We had some great names.
Some of the top names now.
Exactly. So it's, I guess, you know, by the way, scrapping 2.0 and that stupid logo was a great idea. I love the new logo, and hopefully Triple H will get back to what made it great. And if anybody knows how to do it, it's him. So I guess let's give it a little time. But I'm worried. It's got that Rampage feel. Burp.
So, how about up next? I hear a rumor Ric Flair wants to wrestle again.
Yeah, why? Would you like to see Ric Flair wrestle again?
No.
I would not like to see Ric Flair wrestle again. I didn't want to see Ric Flair wrestle the last time. No. Why? Is this cocaine to Ric Flair? He just can't stop. He needs another line? Stop it.
He's embarrassing his legacy.
I mean,
he'll always be the Ric Flair legend, but I mean, he's really
embarrassing his legacy or just embarrassing his current self, because it's almost impossible to embarrass his legacy unless he did something like criminal.
Yeah, no, that's
you know what I mean.
Have to agree with
then it would all be for naught. But just stop.
Yeah,
stop wrestling.
I want him to almost disappear for a little bit so that I can appreciate appreciate him again.
One shame of it is, and we don't have enough great managers. In my opinion,
we don't have really any.
Could you imagine if Ric Flair would have ever accepted it to just be a full-time, fantastic manager in the WWE?
J.J. Dillon.
What's wrong with that? Except he could talk a little bit better than J.J. Dillon. Could you imagine Ric Flair managing some of these guys? What if he managed Karrion Kross and Kross just stood there and said nothing? With his woman, you can still have Scarlett because we got to have Scarlett. But imagine and then we'd have Ric Flair hitting on Scarlett. Could you imagine the slow burn before Karrion Kross beats up his own manager? Yeah. I took you to the world title and you assault me? Woo! I'm telling you, I would have much rather seen Ric Flair becoming a full-time manager because he's the greatest talker ever, probably, right? Who talks better than Ric Flair?
I don't. I like the jive talking Dusty Rhodes too. I mean, a
little
bit
fine.
different.
I still feel like Ric Flair is, they're both penthouse. What am I going to say? What am I going to say? Agreed. Next. What do we got next?
How about Liv Morgan warning that the White Rabbit better not interfere in her match this weekend?
What's with that? What is with mentioning Bray like that?
That's some type of tease.
Well, she's mentioning the White Rabbit. I shouldn't say this, because we don't know if the White Rabbit is Bray.
Yeah, I mean, it could be
just another swerve.
Yeah,
just throwing it out a little bit more about who do you think the White Rabbit is? Seems like you're not so sure it's Bray Wyatt. That would really suck, though. Who's it supposed to be?
I think it would be a great swerve if it wasn't Bray Wyatt, and then later on in the show we brought.
And who is it?
Not sure.
You got to be careful with the fooled you guys. You got to be careful with that.
But then you bring him back. Then at the end of the night you bring him back, or you bring him back on Monday.
The end of the night, you're delaying the big surprise by 35 minutes. Come on, dude. No, can't do that. Can't do that. The White Rabbit's got to be Bray, or it better be somebody that's going to make people go, holy shit.
Yeah.
And who the hell would make them go? I'm telling you, nobody reminds me of Rabbit in this company.
There's nobody.
Maybe it's Ricochet. He's a Rabbit. Wow, wait a minute. Bing, bing, bing. Ricochet Rabbit. No, it's not Ricochet. Shit.
No.
Boy, they're just not thinking. I don't know who it is. I hope it's Bray. It's got to be Bray. I've seen a rabbit around the studio lately, but people think I'm on something. Go ahead, continue.
Yeah. Well, you were talking about it running around last week. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, it's out there somewhere. One of these days, my eyes will be proven true. So I want Bray back, don't you?
Absolutely. I think
like yesterday.
He was another generational talent. I mean, Was he the greatest wrestler? No, but he was damn
Now,
serviceable.
yeah, thank you. Thank you. Some folks out there don't think he can wrestle.
No, he can. That dude
the-
can wrestle.
I think he's actually better than
You
serviceable.
know, I mean,
quite
I'm not going
honestly.
to say. I think he wasn't Mike Rotundo, but he's.
Right. No, I got you. If the Wyatt family was ever to reunite, are we looking at Strowman and Rowan? Would
that'd
it
be
be
awesome.
both of them?
That'd be great, bringing everybody back.
The sad
together.
reality is my favorite Wyatt member outside of Bray himself was Luke Harper. Can I call him Luke Harper? Am I allowed? Because everybody refers to him not as Luke Harper. He's Mr. Brody from AEW. By the way, that annoys me, just for the record, that he was in AEW such a short time, yet they claim like he's all theirs. His body of work was with the WWE. His greatest
Most of
greatest
his
accomplishments
work
were
was
with the
with
Wyatt
WWE.
family. Stop it, But that's just my thoughts on that. Get back, Bray, like yesterday, please.
Yeah, come back, Bray.
Yeah.
So, what do you think of AJ Styles? You think he's destined to join the Judgment Day?
Yeah, he better. Don't you think? Don't you want to see that?
I think it'll be a whole different AJ Styles. I'd love to see a different heel of AJ. The last one was that little bit of a cocky one when he's the tag champs.
I
And
love that.
He was great, but I think he could be a whole different heel in Judgment Day. A little bit darker.
What if he decides to not join Judgment Day and bring back his boys Gallows and Anderson? You thought about that one?
No.
Because Gallows and Anderson are actually getting freed up, pretty much. And I wouldn't,
Is it no compete?
AJ Styles never forgave Paul Heyman, blames him for letting them go. So he still wants them back. Who knows which way this is going to go? I'm happy with either of those options. If AJ winds up in Judgment Day, it puts him back with Finn Balor, and there's those Bullet Club ties, which
That would be awesome.
that would be unbelievable. And it's nice to see Finn Balor getting booked this way nowadays because, Triple H loves him. And I was actually there the night that Finn Balor won the Universal Championship when, by the way, that match, do you remember that match? The very first Universal title match when they were going to declare the first champion was at SummerSlam at those Barclays events I spoke about with the NXT cards running on a Saturday and then SummerSlam running on a Sunday. They unveiled the belt. I'm sure your memory's going to come back. They unveiled the belt to show it to the crowd, and they spent the entire match. Now, you got Seth Rollins and Finn Balor in the ring having an excellent match. And oh boy, was I getting mad. All you heard was a bunch of kids, that belt sucks. That belt sucks. That belt. They just wouldn't stop. They're not paying attention to this amazing match with two top-level guys fighting for their championship that now we all look at as a world championship, and they missed the whole fucking thing. And I'm like going, shut the fuck up. Like some of us older fans were like, will you guys fucking calm down? Oh, it's red. It's too red. This blew my mind. But anyway, getting back to the original point, Balor wins the title. He's the first champion. But during the match, Seth tore Balor up. And he wound up having to drop the belt immediately because he was injured during the match. And he's never been back to that level. So I'm excited and I'm enjoying seeing Finn Balor. By the way, stomping on AJ's chest and pinning him this week and then going, I'm your friend while he's beating him up. This is great shit. It's great shit. One way or the other.
Well, that brings us to the end of This Week in Wrestling. Jimmy, want to take us out?
You've been watching, what was it, This Week in Wrestling?
This Week in Wrestling.
And until next week in wrestling, on behalf of Mr. Bruce from ESO, I'm the Pharaoh. Oh, and thanks, Abe. Abe behind the board. Later.
Later.